Okay, and now we are officially starting. So welcome everybody. It's pleasure to have you there, all of you. We have lots of people. And this webinar has been organized by the Weekly Fasting Group. It's an international group on WhatsApp. People virtually from all over the world, from Australia, Middle East, India, United States, whatever. And the aim of this group is to cultivate the habit of fasting once a week between 24 and 36 hours. And to do it on a consistent basis, week after week after week. And this kind of habit of fasting, of abstaining from food for one day a week, brings lots of results on different levels. And that's basically the aim of the group. And in general, we in the group on the chat we discuss lots of subjects related to healing, to detox, to fasting, mental health, positive mental states, etc. And we also have our webinars with our amazing speakers. So before we move to the actual webinar, I just want to say that if you are not yet the member of this group, and if this idea appeals to you, below the video, you will find my WhatsApp number. My name is Arik. I'm the moderator of this group. Please send me your name and send me the message that you want to join the group. And I will really, really happily add you there. And today we have the second part of our webinar from last week. Last week it was dedicated more to different things related to the body, to the healing of the body. Today we decided to dedicate it more to emotional, mental aspects of healing and detox. And so let's start. Please welcome Swati. She has been into this health realm and healing realm since she was 5, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Since she was 5.
Yeah.
And so Swati, over to you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Yeah. So thank you so much, Arik. It's a very, very beautiful day today, and it's so nice to see you. And let me start with the talk. You were just telling now, like the fasting. This group is all about, like we all discuss about healing, detoxing, mental health, like that. So when we talk about healing, it is not just the body that is healing. Usually what we see is the bodily aspects of health issues, like we have different health issues, but every time what I've seen is every bodily health issue has something with it that's connected with your emotions also.
Absolutely. Swati, just a second, could you please hold the microphone a little bit closer because we can hear you a little bit far away.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think it is better. Thank you very much.
Is it better? Right. Okay. Right. So what I've seen is like through all these years, whenever somebody is trying to heal themselves, when they start on this journey of moving more towards good health, with time they undergo different types of detoxifications that happens in their body. So whenever there's a detox happening, I've seen that it's not just physical detox that's happening. We also experience a lot of mental detoxes that's happening. And what are the different types that mental detoxes that we can see? You might just start feeling a little sad without any reason. Can you hear me? Am I clear?
Yes, we can hear you, but still, last time the quality was a little bit better. Right now, also when you talk, it's like a wind, like there's kind of sounds like a wind or something like that. If you
Yeah,
have a head, if by chance you have a headset, you can put it on. If not, then we will manage it like that because it is still clear. It is still fine.
just give me a moment. I'll be back.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think now it's going to sound better.
Okay, okay. It's yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everything is clear.
Yeah. So what happens is like every time when there's a physical detox that is going to happen, we've noticed that it is preceded by some mental detox happening. And what are the signs of mental detox that you can see? People might not have any triggers and they might just feel sad, or they could just feel very negative about something. They might feel bitter about something, or they might just feel angry about things. So when somebody is going through such emotions, we can understand that the body is trying to release something. Because usually, whenever the body is holding on to some toxin, it is not just the physical toxin that it's holding on to, it is also some suppressed emotion that it is holding on. So, when the body is detoxing, you also release the suppressed emotions that we have suppressed over the years. So, this I've noticed in all sorts of health issues, like anybody with any problem, like anybody who has a problem of chronic pain in any part of the body, that is also a sort of reflection of some suppressed emotion for years together, years over. So whenever somebody is trying to detox, it's always good to just not just work on your body, but also try to work on your mental health. Like try to help your mind also relax and help it remove all that suppressed emotions or suppressed desires or aspirations which were not fulfilled or any such things. So yeah. So anybody has any question here? Okay. So let's go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I've noticed, like usually when people these days, like I've seen with time, more and more people are facing lots of health issues, like emotional health issues, like very young children, young boys, young girls. They seem to be having, they seem to be facing depression, stress, or anxiety. And to me, the major reason for all this is just not the lifestyle that they're following. It's also how they are investing their time. Like I usually say, like it's not just the food that's going in; it's also the other inputs that's going in. Like if all your inputs are okay, your health is going to be perfectly okay. So when I talk about inputs, it is physical, like when you're eating the food is also one of the inputs that is going to determine the state of your health. And then whatever you're reading, even that is going to determine what is going into your mind, what's going to go into your brain. And along with it, all the information through the social media. So what are you feeding yourself all through the day? Like when you're spending time with your friends, or when you're spending time with anybody else, what are you talking about? So what is going inside your mind? So all that's being fed inside of you, all the information, all the food or whatever has gone inside the body has to recycle it, metabolize it, and whatever is needed, it is being assimilated and it is being used up. And whatever it doesn't need, it has to recycle and it has to throw it out. So if we give ourselves enough time, the body can actually complete all these processes. But very often these days, like the way the life is around us, everybody is in a rush. Everybody has so many things to take care of all through the day. There are so many things that we want to do, and all the time people want to keep eating this or that. So the inputs are always constant. The inputs are always so constant that usually people, like the mind doesn't have enough time to process.
Mm.
And there's a lot of backlog. There's a lot of backlog. And in the series of all these backlogs, there's one major thing that gets accumulated over the years, and that is all the experiences, all the good, the bad experiences, all the good and bad um, emotions that we went through. All that is being uh, accumulated inside us. And with time, these accumulations, they can just pile up. And with time, this can manifest into something uh, a physical health issue or a mental health issue, because we haven't processed them, we haven't removed all the unwanted matter from our mind. Just like for physical health, when lots of toxins are being accumulated in the body, and if the body is not able to detox well, and if the body is if the toxins are still there all the time, time after time, it is getting more and more toxic with time, and it leaches out more and more of toxin into the body again, and that results in major health issues. Same way, the accumulated emotions or suppressed emotions, if they are not processed, if they are not recycled, with time, they can end up giving us a lot of mental health issues, because there's a lot of unresolved issues going on in the mind. And with this sort of a situation, with this sort of a mental state, we just cannot actually live the life that we would have wanted to live, or we would have loved to live.
Mm.
Because what I understand is, if your vitality, or if your energies are completely free of unnecessary uh, weights that are weighing it down. The weights could be the toxins in the body, or the toxic emotions that you're holding on to. So when you don't have all these weights weighing you down, you can live a better quality of life. You can actually live your life the way you want. You can actually live the way you love to. But just because we have not processed most of the stuff that's going in, we just end up not being able to do or live the way we actually would have loved to, or we actually are not able to reach our potential.
Mm.
Yeah. So we have just unlimited potential. We can just live a very, very great life. We could just live the life, whatever sort of life you want to live. uh, and it's not just that your physical capacity, your mental capacity can just be enhanced the way you would like to. But the only thing is, you are just supposed to be trying to remove all that is an obstruction in your emotional and your physical health.
Mhm. Swati, and
Yeah.
what kind of problems can those unresolved emotions and unresolved information in general create in a person?
Yep. Yeah. What I've seen is, like, they actually can result in all the physical health issues that you can see. Like cancer is when you have suppressed a lot of, like, you've been sad about something all through your life. You've been holding on to some very, very sad emotions all through your life. It can result in cancer. Like all the diseases, they are actually a result of suppressed emotions. Because when you suppress some emotion, when you're just trying to hide something in, usually you try to do it with uh, maybe some emotional eating,
Mhm.
or you just binge watch something. Like, you just try to divert your mind somewhere, so that you just don't face your issues.
Yeah.
And that ends up giving you physical health issues majorly. But
Yes.
then these days, I've seen, like, people are actually facing lots of mental health issues also.
Mhm.
And it's not just people of the older age who have seen so much of the world. It's hitting the kids also today. Like, I've
Yeah.
seen even young small children of the age 10 years or 7 years who are facing emotional health issues.
Mm.
So the situation looks really very grim, because there's bombarding of, like, all around you. You can see just all sorts of food stuff which are not really good for you.
Yeah.
All sort of information that's you don't really need.
Right.
But just because it's available, we think we just need to know this, we just need to eat this. It's like just we want to have everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we just don't really realize whether we actually do we need all that.
Yeah, a person can even develop some kind of anxiety that I might miss some kind of information. I think it's a known phenomenon in the world of psychology today that people just develop this symptom of, yeah, I have to get this information and that information and that information.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I'm gonna miss it.
yeah, that's a very really very sad state, because there's so much of bombardment of information around that we just feel like if we don't know it, we are just missing out on something really big.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really a very people just cannot come to terms with that fact, and they just want to know everything, they just want to learn everything. But what I have understood, when I read the books of the great Indian sages from the past, or the Indian all the information that I read from our past, like from the Vedas or from the Puranas or such books, what we understand is all the knowledge, all the information is in here. We don't need to go running around and trying to gather all the information from outside, because there's so much information. All this lifetime is not going to be enough to get everything inside you, right? So the best is choose what you actually need to make your life more productive, because ultimately we need to be productive about, like, we need to be able to give back when you after you've received. So just try to see to it whatever is necessary to make your life the best, just try to learn only about that. And after that, just try to be as peaceful and as calm and as much in equanimity as possible, and that is going to help you get all the information you want. That whenever you will need some information, you will be sure to find it wherever you actually need to. So that's one thing. And same thing goes even with the food. Like, just eat as much as you are actually needed to eat. Don't just try, just because there's so much of abundantly availability all around you, you don't really have to have everything in your life. You don't have to consume everything that's available around you. So,
Yeah.
but what I've recently, there was a very classic example that I can give you here. What I've noticed is when a person is facing a very bad state of mental health issue, I've seen that such a person would not even like to eat, would not be wanting to eat the right foods. That's because, like, the mind and the gut both are connected. If your gut is fine, your brain is working fine. So what happens is, like, if a person is facing lots of stress, if the person is facing lots of anxiety, I've seen that that person is not really very much attracted towards the right food or towards the right lifestyle. They just don't want to change for the better. That's because um, all the toxins inside, all the toxic matter inside, just does not want them to change at all. They find it really difficult. So it's really very important. If you really identify anybody with such issue, it's good that you try to help them, give them enough time, and slowly try to introduce to them towards a better lifestyle. Try to give them the right food, give them the right inputs through the sun, the air, fresh air, and with time you'll see that they start
Mm. Swati, you were there was an interruption on the line, so
okay.
so we just heard with the time you will see that he starts and then you got frozen for a moment.
Detoxing. Yeah, with time you'll see that they start detoxing at the physical and mental level. Like, they'll have emotional detoxes, they'll have physical detoxes, and with time the mind gets clearer, the mind gets sharper, and they can actually start getting back to normalcy.
Mm.
And one more aspect thing that I've noticed these days is young children. Most of the young children are facing with the issue of attention deficit. Like they just cannot focus their attention to one thing for a long time. And what we have noticed is this can be very, very easily connected to the vaccines that they get as a baby, as a child.
Mhm.
Because the chemicals in the vaccine, they go and they get lodged into the brain, and they just don't let the brain function normally. And it's so irritating that the children just cannot sit peacefully. They just cannot peacefully concentrate on one thing. They are constantly in a fully a hyper state of activity. They want to have, they have to be physically active, they have to be mentally active, like they have to be. So that's it's a result of chemicals deposited in the brain. And it's very common now. Like almost, you just look around you and you'll see many many such children around you. So this is actually this is a major concern around us today. And there's another example I can give you here. uh, Once the health starts deteriorating due to any reason, uh, what happens is, like, mentally also we start getting weak. And usually people end up taking tablets or medicines to trying to support, like try to there are chemical changes in the brain, right? There are some chemical changes in the brain, and so they're not able to um, like they're not able to deal with things they would normally have dealt with, the way they would have normally dealt with. So they ultimately end up taking some medical support, some chemical support to try to balance the chemical imbalance in the brain. And they try to go on with that. And they think that maybe some days of some years or some months of medication can bring them to normalcy. But until the situation around them has not changed, until they actually want to heal, it doesn't happen. And with time they just become so dependent with the medications that they just are not living a normal life. Yeah.
Mhm.
So if you really want to get rid of all these issues, the way you're doing, like the way the group is doing the weekly fast, that's a really very good way of helping your body to detox. So by fasting or just trying to introduce the right lifestyle and the food habits, what happens is with time the body starts removing the physical toxins. First the blood constitution changes, slowly slowly the gut changes, and slowly the gut bacteria will change. And that will help the brain also to reset itself, clarify itself, and become and reach a healthy state. So how does that happen? I can just try to explain that. Like, how does that happen? First thing, when the body starts, there are 7 stages of disease. And the first stage is what we call as innovation. Like when we are born with 100% healthy body. Most probably we are supposed to be born like that. And yeah, but then it doesn't happen these days with every child. But what's happening is, like, okay, if just imagine that a child is born with 100% clean and healthy body. But just after its birth, with the vaccines or with the immunizations that they are given, lots of chemicals are being introduced into the body. And due to the way the mother is eating, and due to the mother's emotions, and due to the environment, there are a little small deposits of toxins that are being made into the body with time. So what happens is the body initially tries to throw out very often by giving up, raising a cold or raising a fever. But what happens is we try to suppress them also. And with time, the body just starts getting fatigued and it just does not want to react anymore.
Mm.
And this is the stage where we call that the body has started getting innovated. So here starts the backlog. And what happens is, with the toxic backlog, slowly our digestion, like, it just starts affecting the different systems, the different organs in the body. And the first thing that gets majorly affected is the digestion, the digestive system. And when I say we get innervated, the nervous, our vitality is being lowered down, our vitality is being used majorly by the uh, physical body where it is needed to take care of all the toxins. So we don't have enough vitality available to do the cleansing or throwing out of the toxins. So these toxic um, deposits slowly just bring down our levels of vitality availability. And as our intestines and our digestion starts getting slightly weakened, we don't realize for a long time that it has really weakened very badly. It just initially starts weakening a little bit, very in a very slow degree. So as it just goes changing, as it has started changing, same way, like as we in nature cure, what we say is our gut and our brain are both very much connected. They are like our gut is our first brain, and our mind is our, the brain is our second brain, because first the gut was made in the mother's womb, and later on the brain was made. So the thoughts that come to you or the emotions that come to you are a reflection of the state of your gut. So slowly at the gut starts getting changed. Same way, it is going to influence the way you are going to think. It's going to influence the way you can analyze a situation. It's going to influence the way you're going to understand a situation. And this is how it goes on. And slowly, the body just keeps on crossing all the different degrees of diseases. And with time, you have lots of emotional deposits and toxic deposits. Yeah. So when you start, anybody has any questions here?
Hello, I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, thank you. So I'm in my 30s, and so many people that I know, my friends, my siblings, that are the same age as me, have been on medication for depression for over a decade, since their 20s, if not earlier even. And I agree that medication dependency happens, and it's a very scary thing to stop a medication that you have been taking for years and years and have become almost dependent on it. And my heart wants to introduce them to the idea that they can release dependency on medication and begin healing their body through other means like fasting.
Yeah.
So my question is, yes, how to make that less scary, I guess, how to prepare yourself for that type of detachment. Thank you.
How to prepare yourself? Can you please repeat it?
How to prepare your mind and your body to release dependency on a medication that you've been using for so long for depression.
Right. It's what I've noticed is like somebody else cannot come and make you more focused on this unless you yourself want it from inside. It becomes a little bit difficult for a person to get onto this journey. Just as you just told us, like many of your siblings or many of your cousins are dependent on the medication, and it's really difficult for you to explain to them that they can get over the dependency on medication. And this is what even I have seen in all these years of my practice, that unless the person wants to get rid of it in his mind or in his heart, until then it's not at all that easy to convince them that they can get over the medication. So what we can do is, instead of trying to explaining that to them or trying to convince them that they can get over it, what I do is, like when somebody comes to me with this sort of an issue, I try to use some other methodology with which they can slowly try to start detoxing, they don't need to know that they are actually trying to get rid of the medication, or they are trying to get over their health, mental health issues. They just need to be slowly taken to more into nature, try to let them connect with nature. And the more they are in nature, with time what happens is they slowly start calming down, and somewhere they'll start getting the feeling that yes, they need to get back to themselves, they need to get their selves back, and that is when they can get slightly motivated somewhere to get over this dependency and try to heal themselves. So this is one of the ways, and the other ways you can use is like trying to introduce them to a healthier way of eating, because very often I've noticed people who have mental health issues, they also have eating issues, like eating disorders. They just they find it really very difficult to not to eat uh, foods that are actually very toxic for their body. So just trying to introduce them to a healthier food habit. Like what would I suggest people is, anybody around who's living with such people, if they're living together in one home, try to just get all sorts of fruits and try to place fruits all around wherever you can see, like on the table, on the kitchen table. So wherever you can place, just try to place fruits all around, and try to remove all the foods that are processed from the home. So what happens with time is, like, if that person is getting hungry, they just see, when they see the fruit, that when they see there's nothing else is available, they'll have to end up eating a fruit, whether they like it or not. They might not be happy about not having the food stuff that they really love to eat, but for that moment, yes, they might end up eating the fruit. So slowly, if you just give them the right food, somewhere they'll start removing the toxic bonding inside the body, and the toxins might start removing, and the emotional uh, the suppressed emotions also will start get releasing with time. But yes, such people need lots of support, lots of love, and lots of time, and lots of care. It's not really possible without that. We just can't expect them to do this completely on their own unless they want to do it, because unless they have that burning desire in them to get over all this, it's not really that easy for them to do it on their own. Does that satisfy your question?
Yes, that's very good information. That's very true too. There's such a dependency on food that is dead and inert, but we consume because it hits our emotional brain that gives us sort of like chemical reaction of happiness, but it's not true happiness. But that in itself becomes an addiction.
Very
And
true.
replacing that food with living food is much better. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So this is what's happening around us. Like, everybody is trying to get instant satisfaction from everything that they do, or whatever they eat. Like what my son was discussing with me the other day was like, most of the time, like most people today don't have to really work hard to get any sort of satisfaction in life. Like we don't need to really work hard to get some get to be paid paid for it, and then we just don't need to go for buy food for ourselves and then get that satisfaction of having eaten after a one single day's proper labor. That's not happening these days. Like, you just don't need to do anything. What you just need to do is just switch on your mobile, and you just scroll through your social media, and you start getting a dopamine hit. Like you start feeling like you have received a lot of stuff. You started receiving lots of things. Like you just get satisfaction. It's a way of getting satisfaction, but without having really done any taken any effort to get to it. Like, that's how most of us are being raised today, because uh, like once upon a time we didn't have so many gadgets to help us, we didn't have so many facilities around us, like the kids had to work hard in the farm, the kids had to work around in the home and support help their parents. But with time, what's happening nowadays is we just don't need to uh, like we don't want our kids to really work much, like we want them to have a very comfortable childhood. And in in the name of giving them a comfortable childhood, we end up giving them all sorts of gadgets, all sorts of things that they would want to have, like any plaything they want, we just try to get them. So they just don't need to have to take much of any sort of effort to really get any sort of sense of achievement or sense of having taken effort to really having received something. So that's where everything is beginning, like life is being like, people really think like they just get trained to live like that, like they don't need to really work hard to eat something, they just need to book something online and it's delivered within half an hour, it's at the door, right? This didn't happen once upon a time. Or maybe when nature actually designed us and when we were initially on this earth, like I don't think we could just think like that and just food would have just appeared within half an hour in front at our door. We would have had to go around and look for the fruits and then pluck them, then eat them. So we had to take that effort. But nowadays people don't really have to take any effort to get something, and this is where the vicious cycle is starting. And this vicious cycle is actually ending up in destroying so many lives, because all so many such intelligent beings have been robbed of their intelligence just because of some wrong bad inputs, some excessive wrong inputs, and they're just living a life of um, they themselves are not really happy in themselves because of that, and people around them are equally um, disturbed, because even they cannot relax 100% uh, because they have somebody in the family who is not really very happy or healthy. So this is a situation that you can see in almost every other household today.
Swati, I have a little question. So, from your experience working with lots of people,
Yep.
what is the best aspect to start with if someone comes to you and they are depressed, stressed, etc.? Would you start with most people today
Yeah.
from the mental aspect, like talking to them about maybe doing social media less, introducing some meditation, or would you start from the bodily aspects and food aspects? So, from your experience, I'm just curious because people
Yeah.
sometimes ask me for
Very,
guidance as well. I just want to
very,
learn from you.
very true, very true. What I do is, like, somebody, if they come to me, I start working with them at all levels.
Mm,
But I know everything is not going to work at the same time, because there's going to be just one thing which is going to be okay with them, and there are other things they are going to try to dodge, because very often
very
I've seen
interesting.
that they try to dodge most of the things because they just want to escape, they just don't want to, because it's not easy to work hard, or it's not easy to make people to work hard. So when
Yeah,
people,
especially when you tell them you should change this and that different
yeah,
10
yeah,
different aspects of your life. Yeah, it might be very challenging.
yeah. So what I do is, like, yes, I start with I start working at the mental level, at the physical level, and at the spiritual level at the same time.
Hmm.
Like, we change their diet, their food habits.
Yeah.
We help them by taking them out into the nature, helping them to connect with the sun, get the sun's light, connect with the earth, go for grounding, go for walks in nature. Or we try to encourage them to walk in the garden, which very often I've noticed that they just don't want to do at all.
Hmm.
Yeah, they just try to skip or avoid very badly. But still, I just try to push them, and if not, I just let them be. I just tell them, okay, please just sit around and let us work. So I at least let them watch. So, and yes, we have make them do some yoga asanas, like yoga also helps the body detox. So, and sometimes it's possible if they sit through, then we try to make them chant certain
Mm.
mantras.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we work at all levels, and very often I've seen they like they just don't want to do most of these things.
Mm.
So either they are okay with the diet, or some people are not okay with the diet. Some people are okay with just going out in the nature and connecting with the nature. So I just try to find what is going to work the best for this particular person,
Mhm.
and I try to work more on that aspect so that at least one part is taken care of, and that could give me a breakthrough somewhere. And slowly, I've seen that I'm able to help them get more involved in the other things too with time.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing. So enlightening.
I can give an example here.
Yeah.
uh, there was a lady who came to me last year. She was on medication for 25 years. Since 25 years, she was under the medication for anxiety and depression. And the last 10 years, she was literally not able to do anything for herself. She would not want to get out of her room. She just would not want to talk to anybody. She would not like to go to anybody's place, like not visit her relatives, not talk to anybody. And she would have this feeling that her life was ruined by the most two people who were actually who loved her. That was her husband and her mom. They were the people who loved her the most, but she would have this feeling that they were the people who destroyed her life, and she would be abusive with them all the time. And when she came to me, she was in a really bad state, and she was under very heavy medications. So first thing what we did was slowly we started with the diet, and I tried to involve her in the yoga. I tried to involve her in the garden experience. I would take her out into the nature, and yes, she would love to go out in the nature, and she was okay with the diet, but she found it very difficult to get to do the yoga or the meditation. So initially, for me to get her to do most of the things would be so difficult. Like most of the time, I would have to spend time with her, trying to cajole her, trying to convince her that she had to do this, she had to do that. And I would have to do lots of talking with her to help her to get her all the stuff inside her mind, to get it out. She was with me for 6 months, and it gradually we could see that within a month we could slowly cut down on the medication, and within a month she was medicine free.
Wow.
And after we could stop the medicine, only I could start seeing the major changes that were happening in her. Until she
Ama-
was, yeah,
Amazing. So how long did it take for her to be medication free? 1 month?
1 month. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's really very difficult to do on your own at home, because you need lots of support, which we were doing that here. Like we were giving her support from all angles, and that's how we could get her off medication. And even today, like it's been more than a year since she's gone back home, almost maybe more than a year, and she's still medication free, and she's taking care of herself. She's very much a calm down person, and yes, her life has changed for good.
Wow, wow. Such an inspiring story. And tell me, Swati, so, and how did he come to you initially? Was it her own decision to come, or someone else sent her to you?
No, here it was her own decision, because actually she was in a very bad state, but I think somehow, somewhere, she just got to realize that she might be sent to a home.
Mm.
Yeah.
To,
And
to the mental hospital, I mean.
yeah.
Ah,
And that gave her that inspiration, maybe, like she was very strongly determined that she had to get out of this. So she came to me 100% of her own will. And though her family did not believe that she would be doing so, because she was living in the United States, and she traveled all the way to Chennai.
wow.
A woman who had not wanted to leave her room And in the last 5 years, they had lots of times they had booked ticket for her to come to India, but she would not travel. She wouldn't get out of her home also. So like nobody really believed that she's going to do it. When she said that she was going to India, nobody actually believed her.
Wow.
But her determination, and that was the only thing that brought her here. And she actually went through all the hardships because actually she was struggling. She really struggled a lot. I could see her struggle every moment. And but yes, that determination in her mind that she had to get over all this was what sailed her all through all those sufferings.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, do you have any questions at this point for Swati?
Yeah.
Hi, Swati.
Yeah. Hi.
So, thanks for sharing your enlightening wisdom. And now I have a question. You have been talking about how the children or adults are getting vaccinated, and they are
Yeah.
putting in various chemicals into their system, and they have been losing all their life force because the system has to process
Yeah.
all
So
this
much.
stuff, and then so most of the life force has been spent. So can you share whether it is possible, is it really possible that the system is back to 100% or the life force is gone once it's gone? This is one for the first part of the question. And regarding your first part, I mean, in the last week, you have
Yeah.
been mentioning about connecting to the elements, and you
Yeah.
have
Yes.
mentioned about all the 5 elements as a whole, but I maybe due to the lack of time, the ether element has been just compromised a bit. So yes, if you would like to share your wisdom on how to connect yours, how to derive
Of course.
the
Sure.
energies from the ether, the downloads, you know.
Of,
So if the life force can be improved upon, of course, the fasting is definitely a massive way, of deriving the energy from the ether. But if any
right.
or any means through which you can maximize your um, derivation from the ether, or your experiences in particular, if any, and how the life force should be maximized by connecting yourself to the ether, and in what way? That's the question. And sorry to make it long, actually. Thank
That's
you,
all right.
Swati.
Yeah, welcome. The first part of your question is like, can we get back our vitalities 100%? What we have spent is spent, but yes, what we are left with can be used or can be made use of more intelligently and more smartly and more usefully. If the vitalities are freed of unnecessary bondations, they can be made available to you 100%, whatever is left, and that can make that the next part of your life more productive and more beautiful. So ultimately, like it's not the length of life that's going to matter, it's going to be the quality of life that you have lived that is going to matter. So whatever point of time or whichever point of time you have realized that you need to get you have to relieve yourself of unwanted matter toxins or unwanted emotional bondages, the moment you get over all this, after that, whatever life you have left with or whatever life force you are left with, you can make the best use of it and live the life more beautifully and make good use of that part of your life. That's one thing. And yes, connecting with the ether, fasting is the best way. Yes, we can start with intermittent fasting because everybody cannot fast 24 hours or 36 hours because many people find it really difficult. So yes, they can start with intermittent fasting because when they sleep, they are anyway fasting. So they can just try to make it a couple of hours before their sleep and a couple of hours after their sleep and try to improve the number of hours from there and slowly, slowly train their body to be without food for some time. Because yes, if we keep filling all the spaces all the time, there won't be enough space for processing of the already inputs that we have put inside our body. So the other ways from which you can connect with the space is by calming down your mind, and that you can do by being quiet or silent for some time every day. Like we can very often many people in India, they follow the principle of being maun vrat. It's called the silence, like being in silence, where they don't talk to anybody, or they don't react, or they don't communicate at all for a certain period of time. Like people start with maybe 15 minutes, then they go on for half an hour, and if they want, they can go like that for 1 hour. And I've seen people trying to do that for 8 days or 2 months also. So just by being silent, just by not communicating with anybody, and just by not interacting with anybody, you reduce your inputs of unwanted conversations. You reduce the input of unwanted information about really not so much, not so important informations. And that also can help you connect with yourself. And once you connect with yourself, yes, you start getting the energies from the ether for your soul. So that's one way. And the other ways are, yes, go out in nature, and please spend time as much as possible in the outside. Even that will help you to get the energy from the cosmos directly. Yeah.
Thank you, Swati. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
It was really helpful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, guys, does anyone else have any questions at this point? Okay, cool. So before we proceed, I just want to tell you, tell our audience that on the chat, I posted my phone number, and if you want me to add you to the weekly fasting group, you can just send me a WhatsApp message, and I will happily do that. It's also going to be below the video for someone who is going to watch it later. But for now, for the people who are present here, in the chat, you will find my WhatsApp number, and just send me, but don't forget to send me your name, please, so that I know what your name is. Okay, okay, Swati, so please continue.
Yeah. So recently there was another example that I can share here. There was a young boy who's been facing the issue of obsessive compulsive disorder. Like he would just try to switch a light off, and he would have doubts again that he had switched the light off or not, and he would keep rechecking the switch. Or if he closes a tap, he'll not be sure whether he had closed the tap or not, and he would keep on rechecking the tap. So this sort of a situation he has derived, or he has come to, when I just studied, or when I try to understand from his past history, or from his life, from his childhood. I noticed that since childhood, he was like he and his sister were just two kids, and his sister was much older than him. So she got married very early. So he was mostly brought up like a single child. And yes, he had a very pampered childhood where he would get whatever he wanted. And just because he was very alone in the home, or maybe he really could not connect very well with his parents, that could be the major reason where he got more dependent on the internet for his leisures. Like whenever he wanted to spend his time, this was how he would spend his time. Like most of the time he would be hooked onto Netflix, or he would be browsing something. So what happened was, with time, and the food that he was eating was obviously the food that most of the people, we are the way we are eating, like mostly the cooked food. And there was so much of the gut bacteria was so strong that I noticed that he just would not like the fruits. This was a big surprise to me, because however, maybe you might not want to have a fruit meal maybe all 3 times a day, but most people are okay with having at least one meal of the day, or having some fruit sometime in the whole day. But this child, he just would not be able to eat the fruits at all. And so, but yes, but then he was determined to get over his issues. So he said, no, well, let me just give it a try. And with time, what happened was, like a couple of days, he just pushed himself. And after a couple of days, he just could not push himself to eat the fruits. So he would feel like vomiting. And so he just told me like, okay, just give me the juices instead. Maybe I would like to just be on juices. And he sustained on the juices for 21 days. And in those 21 days, most of the time we noticed that like he was passing only solid bowel movements all the time.
Wow. And how old was he, Swati?
23 years old.
23.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with time, he just could not drink the juices also. So from nature cure point of view, I could really very clearly understand that his body actually wanted a rest. The body actually wanted to go into a state of fast. But the child could not understand that. And though I explained to him that it's okay to go onto a fast until his appetite came back, he just tried 1 day's juice water fast and 36 hours. And then he said, no, I'm just finding this really very difficult. And I helped him break his fast and transition him into cooked food again. But he was actually finding it very, very difficult to enjoy even a single fruit. And this is a clear indication that the gut bacteria is such that it just cannot take something which can throw it out from the system. So yes, if the child like after this, like he'll have to push more himself more and try to stick to this protocol as much as possible to really get over all this. He might take a couple of months more, and that can help him heal.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Very interesting.
yeah. So yes, and I can also give you an example of a child who was vaccine damaged, and like due to vaccines, his hearing had been impaired. And when he came to me, what we would notice was like as the days went by, some days, like in the evenings, he would just want to cry without any reason. He would just feel sad without much reason. Like there wasn't any much reason. Yes, the major reasons could also could have been like he is not able to eat the favorite foods that he would used to eat or things like that. But he would, when I would talk to him, he would just say like, no, I just don't understand why, but I just feel like crying. But I knew what was happening. Actually, the chemicals that were lodged in the brain was just making certain changes, or chemical changes were happening where the chemicals were being released. And after around 15 days, the child had a fever. And with the fever, he had loose bowel movements, he had vomits. And after that, when the child was checked, the hearing had actually, the child could hear better than before.
Swati, you were interrupted for a moment. So so he had loose bowel movements and vomiting, and then we lost you, I think, for a few seconds.
Okay. So after that, we noticed that after he was checked, we realized that his hearing had already gone up.
Amazing.
More than before, yes. So this is what like we just you don't really very often we don't realize like when we are going through certain emotional detoxes, we are actually going through certain rough times, like when we may be feeling really sad, we may be feeling really very down. But then this is the time when you actually need to take care of yourself and see to it that you don't resort to something which is not actually going to help you by getting into some emotional eating or some emotional binge watching of any drama or stuff like that. It's better you spend time with yourself, just watch your emotions and let that moment pass. And just as that moment passes, with after some time you realize that that emotion or that feeling is no more with you and you have gotten across it. And along after that, you'll see that you'll have a physical detox also happening and you'd start feeling better than before. So you just need to acknowledge what's happening and not try to run away from it by trying to hide behind things which are not really relevant or important or useful for your body or your mind.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And how old was this child you were talking about?
10 years old when he came to me.
He was 10, yeah? 10 years old?
Yes.
Hmm,
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions at this point? Okay, Swati, so let's continue. So, Swati, I just wanted to ask you, you started this webinar from saying that people nowadays consume too much information, they are bombarded by the information. So what to do? So if you have an average person who lives an average,
Life.
yeah, I mean, with the average amount of stress, with the average amount of exposure to the internet, to the social media. So what to
Yeah.
do? How to start? What would you
Yeah.
recommend?
Yeah. So what I have tried to do here in my community is like just to try to help people to get a little away from all these bombardment of information or what I do is like I just hold two activities. We just do two activities every month. Like week after week, we try every Sunday morning. I invite people, whoever want to join me. We go out for a trek on a hill somewhere near our home,
Wow.
and it is where we try to connect with nature. Like you don't need to start really big. Just start with something, some small activity. Maybe every week, just try to go out in nature. Maybe a park or any nature near your place. Maybe a lake or maybe a riverside, whatever's closer to you. And it's just, you don't go there just by yourself. If you can, please take your family with you, and slowly, if you want, please invite your friends with you, because what I have understood with time is we try to do certain things just out of uh, the compulsion, because there are lots of things like we just do it out of memories, like we just want to recreate the same memories that we have already having in our mind. Like we want to just eat certain foods because we would have eaten that food with our friends, we would have been happily talking to them, and that's when we would have had a nice dinner with them. So you would like to repeat the same thing and eat the same food. Or you might want to watch a movie because you have watched movie with your friends, and like you just want to recreate the same memories. So what these days my new mantra is, don't relive the same old memories. Please create new memories, and let them be more healthier, and let them be more connected. Some activity that's there where you are connecting with yourself, where you're connecting with nature. So try to create more memories where you have your close ones with you, your near and dear ones with you, and this way you slowly try to connect with nature, you connect with yourself, and as you create new memories, as you get more closer to yourself, you slowly start eliminating things which you don't really need in life.
Mm.
That's one activity that I do. And the another activity I love to do is like I just like to hold raw vegan potlucks, where I invite my friends or family or whoever wants to join, and I just give them a list of food that they can make, raw food, and we just get together, sit together, and yes, they can come with their kids, they come with their family, and we just sit, talk, and share our food. So here again, we are creating new memories with healthy food.
Wow.
Like usually in the name of connecting with your friends, people end up going to restaurants where they eat the food which is not really too great for their health.
Right.
I think something we need to create new memories where you have new ways of connecting with your near and dear ones. So these are the activities which are going to keep you physically healthy, mentally healthy. This is going to take care of your mental health also,
Yeah.
and spiritually, this is going to ultimately support your spiritual growth too.
Mm.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Okay, guys, so do you have any more questions? I wanted to ask you, Swati, so from your point of view as a healing practitioner, do you believe in the idea that a particular certain emotions
Yeah.
affect particular parts of the body. For example, anger affects certain organs, hatred affects certain organs. So is there any connection, any specific connection?
Yes, it does.
So could you please elaborate on that? It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. What happens is, like, as I told you, when somebody has any particular disease, it's the toxins that have been lodged in that part of the body. And why would the toxin choose to get lodged in that particular part of the body? Behind that is due to the emotion that the person was going through at that moment, that particular part of the body was going through a weak state. And
wow.
this can start getting lodged. So yes, your emotions do determine which part of your body is going to get affected and what sort of disease you're going to get. There's a very strong connection between these. So whenever you're going through any sort of an emotional situation, yes, it's you just cannot avoid it 100% all the time. So it's better if there's a situation, face it, go through it, and after the situation is moved on, try to analyze it, try not to hold on to it, try to forgive the people involved in it, try to forgive yourself for having gone through it, and somehow try to get over it so that you are able to release that particular toxin also, and just not have any accumulation which can result in a certain type of disease in the future.
Amazing. So could you give us a few examples of particular emotions and how they affect particular parts of the body?
I can't do that at the moment immediately because I don't have that.
Okay.
So yes, maybe we can do that next time. We can do this more in detail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be great. And I also wanted to ask, you mentioned the last time you mentioned this putting clay or putting the earth on your eyes in order to heal different eye diseases. I want to ask specifically about nearsightedness, about myopia. Do you have any experience of people helping themselves or curing this particular condition, myopia?
Yes, there have been people who have been able to help themselves get over myopia. Yes.
From your practice, yeah? Okay, very interesting. So could you tell us more about it?
Yeah. So what, like, as I told you, like, we have to start cleansing from inside by introducing right foods, so that when you give yourself the right foods, the blood gets cleansed, and the healthy blood, the cleaner blood, is going to reach your eyesight, and it's going to feed your eyes with the right nourishment that it needs, first thing. And it's going to be able to supply enough amount of oxygen to enhance your eyesight. So that's how you're going to work for your eyesight from the inside. And from the outside, yes, we do help with the mud packs. We also support by taking people out into the nature and help them to watch the greenery and do some eye exercises in the green out there. And with those eye exercises, you start strengthening your eyes. And yes, we do this. We help them do the sun gazing, because sun gazing also strengthens your eyes with time. And yes, and rest. Like, we help them not to use their gadgets. Like, I suggest that you have to use your gadgets as minimal as possible so that you don't strain your eyes too much. And when your eyes are relaxed and rested, they start healing. And yes, sleep is equally important here, because the amount of time you're going to sleep is going to help your eyes to get enough rest. And the more rested the eyes are, the more healed they are going to be.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, maybe we will make special meeting about that or part of them, because I think this, those eye conditions are very, very relevant for many, many people. So
Yes.
it's going to be really enlightening if we do something like that. Okay, guys. So who else has any questions?
There's a
Hi.
question here. Please go ahead.
Hi, Arik and Swati. Hi, it's Cicely here. I just want to say, to confirm what you said about, well, not you're actually confirming for me that for my eyes, they do feel better when I'm outside. And when they're feeling that kind of blurriness, I go outside and my eyes do feel a lot better. So I can attest to that. It does really do something. So you're confirming it, and
Yes,
I'm
yes.
attesting to it that it does
Wow.
work. And just looking at the sun as well. So I like when it really gets blurry, I take off my glasses and I go outside and my eyes feel, I can see better. So yeah, I just wanted to attest to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
There's a question here by Smriti Moniker. It says, how food impact on our mind? This is a really very good question. How can food impact how we are going to think? What in our Indian, like in our philosophy, what we always used to have read is like, whatever food that is going to go into your stomach, it is going to influence your thoughts. Like in Hindi, they say, "Jaisa hove an, vaisa hove man." Like what sort of food has gone into your body, the same type of thoughts or emotions are going to come out of your mind, is what we have heard from our childhood. Most of our religious books talk about it. Most of our philosophy talks about it. So yes, this is really very true. And I can explain it to you how that really happens. What happens is, like, as I told you, when you're eating the wrong foods, what happens, like in our stomach, the digestion process gets tricked. Like with time, a lot of unwanted matter starts sticking to the intestines. A lot of unwanted toxins start getting accumulated in different parts of the body. And the gut bacteria, the healthy gut bacteria, with time changes, and the bacteria is very much changed. And this bacteria, the changed bacteria, does not give out the same uh, chemicals which the healthy bacteria was giving out. So this is reflected in our brain activity. This is one explanation. There's another explanation. According to Nature Cure, what we say is, whatever food that is going to go into your intestine or your stomach, if it is not of a healthy quality, if it is of a little bit of an inferior quality, or if it has some chemical deposits in it, the blood that is going to be formed with the help of that food is not going to be as healthy as it is supposed to be, actually. Mm-hmm. It is going to have more of chemical or acidic deposits in it. And this blood is going to feed all the cells in your body. It's going to feed all the organs of your body. And one of those organs is your brain also. So when this unhealthy blood is going to feed your brain day in and day out, what's going to happen is the quality of your brain cells is not going to be as healthy and as optimal it is supposed to be. And so the result of it is going to be that your thoughts that is going to come out of that unhealthy brain is not going to be as healthy as it is supposed to be. Your emotions are going to be influenced by it. Your thoughts are going to be influenced by it. So if you want to change all that, yes, change your inputs, and slowly the blood is going to get cleaned, and the clean blood is going to feed your brain cells, and the brain cells are going to get healthier, and your emotions, your thoughts are going to get stronger and better. Yeah. So is there any other question here? There's another question here which says, which internal healing do you usually go for to improve eyesight? Okay, that's a very good question. Specific foods or herbs? In the name of foods and herbs, yes, I do give more of carrots and stuff like that. But what I've seen is that actually doesn't matter. The overall lifestyle change, the whole package is what is going to matter. So whether I give more of carrots or not, more of greens or not, if I'm giving any particular herbs or not, doesn't really matter. The overall change in lifestyle, the overall change in the food habits ultimately is going to result in the whole system being cleansed, because the eyes are not just one particular part of your body which needs repair separately. It cannot be done like that. Uh, the whole system has to change for the eyesight to get healthy, because we need to change the blood constitution. Only the healthy blood is going to go and feed the eyes with the healthy nutrients. And in that process, it's not just going to feed your eyesight, it's going to feed the whole body. So it's everything that's being taken care of, because you can treat the whole body just as a complete whole and not in any parts. Yeah, there's another nice question here. I have seen dry fasting has improved my eyesight. That's very, very true, because when you are dry fasting, you are giving your body 100% rest. You are not giving your body any sort of work. And when your body doesn't have any metabolic work to do, what it does is it tries to finish up the pending works. It tries to clear up the old matter. It tries to clear up old stuff. It tries to repair what it needs to be repaired, because it has enough time and energy available to itself. So that's how the eyesight can get improved. Yeah. So any other question?
Swati, I wanted to ask, in your practice, do you recommend any kind of specific cleansing devices, such as enemas, colonics, maybe some kind of laxative herbs, just to clean the intestines?
A very nice question. I'm really happy you brought this question up, because I've noticed like many people try to believe a lot in enemas. Many people love to go for the colonics, and many people try to go into the laxatives and stuff to try to clear the intestines. But what I understand is this is not really going to help you in the long run. The colonics, I completely say no to, because I think it's a very, very, it's more of a violence towards your body.
Mm.
And any sort of violence is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if what's happening is people are being encouraged to eat just whatever they want to eat, just because they know one fine day they can just go and get the whole colon, all the intestines washed out.
Yeah.
But they don't realize that it's not only the intestines or the colon that you need to cleanse. There are lots of deposits already made in your cells all through your body. So the whole body, the whole cells, all the cells are constipated. So we are constipated at the cellular level. The colonics is not going to clean that.
Mm.
The body still has to do the work. You still have to work at all the levels. You just cannot escape with just some short-term activity or action and try to tell yourself, yes, this is going to help me heal. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, as a part of cleansing, for example, there are different yogic procedures such as Shank Prakshalana, this procedure like salt water flush. So what do you think about those things?
I personally, like from nature care point of view, and personally, I don't really encourage most of these activities, because I think it is more of, they are more rude towards the body.
Uh-huh.
Like they are more, I just used the right word and I missed it now. It is not really very, ahimsa is the right word in Hindi, ahimsa or violent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think all these are really very violent. They can be a little bit violent on your body.
Mm-hmm.
Not to go that way. It's better let the body work on its own, because our body is capable of healing and cleaning itself.
Mm.
We just need to give it the right environment. We just need to give it the right foods, and it will start doing what it needs to do. But yes, there can be days when you might be constipated for a couple of days, or there might be days where you might not be able to evacuate your bowels. So this is when I suggest that somebody can use the enema. uh, I call it the non-violent enema, which
Yeah.
can hold just maybe at the maximum 300 milliliters of water,
Okay.
and just use the distilled water, so that only the large intestine is influenced and only little water can go in and just wet the large intestine where the old matter may have dried up.
Mm.
That's it. Like, you don't need to try to bombard the whole intestines with a lot of liquid or whatever you are trying to clean it with. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need, because
Okay.
ultimately the body has to work on its own.
Mm.
Cannot keep giving it support every single day and try to, like, by giving yourself an enema every single day, many people think that they are actually supporting the cleansing and healing a lot, but no, the body has to do that on its own. The body has to evacuate its bowels on its own every day.
Mm.
Every cell has to be active. Every single cell has to do its work on its own. uh, yeah, that is how your body is going to heal itself better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just support it in a non-violent way. Don't resort to violent methods, because ultimately what happens is this also in turn encourages us to feed ourselves again with the unwanted foods,
Yeah.
because we can use certain violent methods to try to remove what we don't need, but then we don't realize that the damage has already been done. All the unwanted toxins that we wouldn't want to be lodged into our cells have already been lodged in different places.
Mm-hmm.
And in the long run, yes, it is still going to end up in creating an health issue somewhere, someday.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much. Okay, guys. Anyone else has any more questions?
There are a
I
couple of,
do. I would like to say something, Swati. I'm sorry, just to confirm what you're saying. I never felt good about this enema thing. I thought it does seem like some sort of I love the way you say it's violence against the body. And I've had a colonics a couple of times, whatever. And the second one I didn't do well with at all. My body
okay.
didn't feel right. The third thing is that, in regards to this with the body, oh yes, I had I had a colonoscopy very recently, and the doctor said, oh, you have a very healthy colon, which I was quite surprised by. But he said, oh, do you use some form of sort of a laxative or something like that? And I said, yeah, I sometimes do, like the Senate or something. He says, don't do it because I can see a stain on your colon.
Okay.
So those kinds of things that are violent towards the body, as you said it so beautifully, Swati, it leaves a stain on the colon.
It does. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cecily. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's another question here. Like, what would you recommend as a preparation to dry fast? Yeah, the best way to prepare for a dry fast is to hydrate yourself well. And the best way of hydration, according to me, is eating lots of fruits, because the water or the water from the fruits is the most easily absorbed by our body than the plain water. So if you eat lots of fruits, the amount of water the body is going to be able to absorb is going to be better. And when you're well hydrated, it's easier for you to go on a dry fast. And there's another question here. We can do without food and water, but can we do without sleep? Uh, Shivambo is very popular in India. Do you think there is a place for that? Okay. The first question is, can we do without sleep? I'd say, like, actually, you should not do without sleep. You have to give your body that rest, because the body needs really that rest, that period of resting time when it is able to cleanse and heal itself. But yes, if you are highly relaxed all the time, your body can heal and relax and cleanse itself even when you're awake and aware. But that doesn't mean that you don't need sleep at all. But yes, if your body doesn't need sleep, the body will indicate that to you. And then please don't sleep. But until then, don't force yourself to not sleep. That is not the right thing to do. You just need to let the body lead, because the body knows what it wants. The body is a very, very sophisticated mechanism that nature has produced. It has its own innate intelligence. We might with our brains, we have lots of information in there with which come to different decisions, or we come to different conclusions. We think like this is the right thing and that is the right thing and we should do this and that. But no, your body doesn't want any of that logic. Your body has its own intelligence to know what it needs, and it conveys to you in very, very specific and clear ways. You just need to know how to listen to it. And this is an art that we have lost since some time now, maybe since a couple of centuries, or yes, we have actually lost that art of knowing what the body is trying to convey. The body exactly knows when it needs the food. The body exactly knows when it needs the rest. The body exactly knows when it needs to shut down. So you just need to learn to listen to it and respond exactly according to what it needs. And if it wants you to sleep, please sleep. Yes, I've noticed that. I've seen that with time when people fast more, or when people are more on raw foods. There's not much of toxic deposits in their bodies, so they don't really need more of rest like most of the people. So they can do very well with just maybe 4 hours of sleep, or maybe just 5 hours of sleep, or some people may need just to sleep a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours. That's okay. If your body needs only that much, then please sleep only that much. But don't try to train yourself to sleep lesser than needed. The body will tell you when it is ready to do that on its own. Yeah. And the next question is, Shivambu is very popular in India. Yes, it's not really that popular in India. Yes.
Yeah, but so, Swati, but please explain what Shivambu means for some of our listeners. It's just they don't understand the term itself. I think it's urine therapy. Like Shivambu means urine, basically, no?
It is. It is urine therapy. Shivambu means your own water. It's in Sanskrit. It's a Sanskrit word. So the Shivambu means it's your own water. So it's drinking the urine. And yes, many people try to heal and cure with the help of urine. I've heard of a center when my dad was practicing, he would always talk to me about a particular center in Kolhapur in Maharashtra, where there's I don't remember the name, but yes, there's a center there where they treat and heal people with the help of urine therapy.
And Swati, have you ever tried it yourself, or on yourself, or on some of your patients?
No, not really, because I've seen that natural lifestyle in itself is enough. Because once you have put everything in place, like what we believe is, if you're going to give your body the right food, if you're going to give your body the right amount of exposure to nature, if you're going to work your body the right amount of activity that you need to give it, and the right amount of rest if you're going to give it, I've seen that this has helped me heal just any sort of health issue until today. So I have never had to make use of it. But yes, I have heard of lots of stories where people talk about urine therapy, where it has healed people with cancer, where it has healed people with all sorts of health issues. Yes, I've heard of it. But yes, I never needed to try that out, because what we are already practicing is it's very, very complete in itself. And it looks to me like that is the way of life. Because this is something which anybody and everybody can do. It's as simple as that. Like to live daily life, you don't really need to spend much. You don't really need to do huge, great, different things. You just need to simplify your life. You just need to simplify the way you eat, and that is it. Lo and behold, you are perfectly moving towards a better state of health.
Good, very good. Thank you so much. So we have another question. Why I feel blurry when I'm on fasting?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and most of the people who fast will know the answer. The thing is, like, whenever you are under a fast, the body starts detoxing. And when the body is detoxing, yes, even your eyes are trying to remove the fatigue, the tiredness, and the toxic matter that they have not been able to remove. And that is why your eyes get blurry for that time. And with time, they're going to get better if you're going to fast better, and the inputs after the fast are going to be better.
Very interesting. Swati, now I wanted to ask you about three substances which are quite controversial in the realm of raw foods and health practitioners. The first one is salt, using salt, even like healthy salt, like Himalayan pink salt. Second one is hot pepper, such as cayenne pepper. Some people claim that it helps them cleanse. Other people say that it's just not to use it. And the third substance is raw apple cider vinegar, unpasteurized. So what is your stand on those three particular substances?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. The salt, first point was about the salt. What I have seen is, yes, if you just want to maintain the way of the state of health that you are in, it's okay to add a little bit of salt to your food, because it is, once you start adding salt to your diet, it doesn't really help your body heal to the extent that you would actually want you to heal. Like when somebody is looking for serious healing, they have to give up on that salt, because the salt is not in its natural form. It's not, because our body is designed in such a way that it can absorb things in a very, very subtle form. Usually when you're consuming the fruits, the vegetables, all the vitamins, the minerals, they are in a very, very basic, primary, very, very simplified form in the fruit. So that is how the body is able to absorb it and assimilate and be it can be made use of very, very easily that way. But if you're introducing yourself, like if you're giving yourself the salt which has been isolated and which is in a very gross form, then that can cause a hindrance in your healing. So if you're looking to heal yourself, then it's better not to have the salt. But if you're not really looking for major healing, if you're okay with what state of health you are in, then yes, it's okay to have consume salt. And now when you talk about the spices, what we say is like eating too much of any food which can be really very strong on your palate, and which cannot be made or which cannot be eaten as a complete meal on itself, is not to be eaten much. Like you can avoid them altogether, because then they can be a little bit irritating on your internal organs. So with time, yes, you can eliminate them. But yes, when you feel like the body is eliminating better when you're consuming the cayenne pepper, the reason behind that is the cayenne pepper is so hot that the body has to try to throw it out. And that is why it's throwing the rest of the things also out along with the spice. So that's why that the body is eliminating very well, but actually it's the body which is trying to throw the spice out.
Okay.
And the next question is about the apple cider vinegar.
Right.
That is an acid. And we don't really need, as I told you, like our body needs the fruits and vegetables that nature has prepared as a whole, as a complete. When you talk about apple cider vinegar, it is something which has been extracted or which has been prepared in isolation, like something has been isolated and concentrated. So something in that form is not very easy on our intestines.
Okay.
You consume the lemon or if you're consuming an acidic fruit like an orange or something like that, it is still easier on your system, because it is in a complete packaged form, because it has fiber. It has many other things to go along with it to balance it and to be able to be assimilated and metabolized in a particular way.
Okay.
Yeah, but when it is isolated in the form of a particular acid, then that can become harsh on your system. So yes, you can see many benefits happening, because ultimately it's a chemical, so it can bring certain changes in your body. but then it is not for the better, because in the long run, actually, it is aging you. It is actually draining your vitality without our realizing, because we don't have any meters to um, we don't have any indicators in our body which can show you whether the vitality is going up or down with certain activities.
Uh-huh.
So you don't know that you are actually draining your vitality with the usage of such stuff. So it's better not to use it, because whatever purpose is for you, with whatever purpose you're using the apple cider vinegar, that purpose can be taken care of by just changing your lifestyle and your food habits.
Okay.
And that's a very simple thing to do. You just need to know that it's a very simple thing to do, just to connecting with nature, or eating the raw foods. These are very simple practices,
Yeah.
but then can actually give you all the results that you're looking for by using the apple cider vinegar or any other such uh, things.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now there is another question here. Okay, you could just read it from the chat if you could.
I'll read it, yes.
Mhm.
What about green or red chili? Somebody is asking whether we should be using the green or the red chili. Again, it's the same. The answer is same, because we cannot eat the green or red chili on its own. So it's better avoid it, because in the long run, it is actually irritating our intestines. And the next question, then I'll take the next question. How can we manage to connect better with our body, to know what our body is telling us? Yeah, that's a very good question. And finally, what do you think of vitamin supplements, vitamin D, B12? Okay, that's a really very good question. To connect better with yourself, the first thing that we can do is, whenever you wake up in the morning, try to be in silence and just watch yourself. Close your eyes, just try to go inside yourself and just observe how your body is feeling, what's happening inside, watch your thoughts. Like, it's a form of meditation. So if you can practice any form of meditation, please do that, because that is also a way of connecting with yourself. But yes, everybody don't have the luxury of that time, maybe. So what you can do is, every day, anytime, anywhere, whenever you find time, just try to be aware of your body. Just try to watch your body, just try to understand what's happening, and you will see certain signals. You can understand certain information, and and with the basis of that information, you can take your next decision, or you can move ahead from there. So that's how you can connect with yourself. And yes, sometimes you might find that difficult, then please go out in nature. When you are in nature, you are in your natural elements, and that is when somehow you will connect with yourself, and with time you will be able to get to understand what your body actually wants. Yeah, there's another question. Why do we crave bad foods, and how do we get rid of that? That's a very good question again. No, sorry, I didn't talk about the vitamin supplements. Yes, we don't actually need any supplements, because again, they are in their isolated form. They are not in their natural package. Nature has not given us anything in isolation. Like, we are not given any vitamin in isolation, or any mineral in isolation. Like, you eat any fruit or any vegetable, it has all sorts of different degrees of different minerals or vitamins in them. So it's a package. It's a complete package. It has some water, it has some fiber, it has some vitamins, it has some minerals. So it's a complete package which the body can easily recognize when you give it to it, and it can easily assimilate from it. But when you isolate something like the vitamin B12 or the vitamin D, it is in its isolated form. It doesn't have the rest of the things that go with it. So the body cannot actually recognize it, and it cannot make good use of it. And the most important thing is, it does not have life.
Mm.
So it cannot add life to your life. So it's better you get it through the natural sources, whatever nature has intended you to get it from. And yes, and vitamin B12, what I've seen is, actually you just need to get your gut clean to get refresh your vitamin B12 needs, because it is actually produced in your gut. You don't need to introduce it from outside. Your gut can produce vitamin B12. The only thing you need to do is just keep your gut clean. That is it. And for vitamin D, just go out in the sun, spend time in nature, and the body is going to get the amount of vitamin D it needs to get. That's it. And the next question is, why do we crave bad foods? Yes, that's a very good question, because we have lots of memories of those bad foods that we have eaten in the past. So whenever the body is trying to detox, whenever the body is trying to remove those particles of the bad foods, the memories are refreshed in our mind. And we feel like, yes, we want to eat that food again. And that is why we have that craving. So if in that moment of craving, if you just observe yourself, if you just watch yourself and just tell yourself, okay, let me just wait and let me just watch and just watch that craving pass by. And after some time, you realize when you detox that, you no more crave that food. So you just need to give yourself some time. You just need to distance yourself from that situation and you will get over that craving.
Swati, I just want to ask something related to that. There are people who say that actually, along with the psychological factor, also our microflora makes us crave certain things, because the microflora, they're actually living bacteria and they produce certain chemicals. So is there this particular aspect there in the picture?
Yeah, this is actually very true. Because as I told you, the microbiome has been compromised with a lot of wrong food habits. And that is why it keeps demanding for the wrong foods again. Because if you give it the right foods, its existence is going to be challenged and it does not want to be removed. So it will try to demand for the same foods that it wants for itself to be alive there.
That's amazing. So it has some kind of a mind of its own.
Yes, it does have. It does. The best thing is just try to watch it and just let it pass.
Amazing.
But the right foods. And with time, you're going to get over that craving.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, we've got another question.
Yeah, there's another question here. After living on raw food, I'm continuously thinking on something. How to keep calm our mind. Okay. What I've noticed is once somebody has changed to raw food or a healthier lifestyle, the mind calms down on its own. We don't need to try at all. This is my experience with many, many, many people. The better you eat, the better you live, the mind gets calmed down with time on its own. We don't need to put much efforts into it. But yes, if you still think that you need to take some efforts to calm down your mind, then please practice equanimity. Like trying to be in equanimity is a very, very great state to be in. Whatever the situation is, if there's something really very good happening around you, still be in an equanimous state and just take it with gratitude in your heart. And if there's some situation which is not really very good for you or not very supportive of your life, or maybe it's not really giving you something very comfortable or nice things, like then, even then, try to accept that with gratitude and not with any remorse, or don't get angry or sad about it. Just try to take it as a part of life and just move on. With time, you're going to get over the situation. And again, life is not going to be the same. It's going to have many other things coming on. So just try to practice equanimity, and that can take you very far. Yeah, there's another question here. I've been trying my whole life to make my mother like me, but she just can't. I cannot let it go, but I'm always hurt by her. I want to let my attachments to be loved by her go. Okay, okay, that's a very good question. Um, yes, there is some situation here where your mom does not like you. There could be certain situations from your past, from your childhood, or it can be some past karmas. But yes, you need to work on it on your own, because it's only you who can get over all this. And you need to give more time to yourself. You need to take more care of yourself. Give yourself the right foods. Give yourself the more time in nature, and you will see, like what I believe is nature is your mother. first and foremost. So try to connect with that mother, and with time you will not have that feeling or that craving or that wanting to be loved by your biological mother. And yes, once you start getting over this sort of a craving or this wanting, your biological mother is actually going to change, or she will hopefully change for the better, and she might start being more uh, better with you. But the only thing is, you need to take care of your wants and needs. You don't need to fill your wants and needs by trying to get it from somebody else. So you give yourself that time and attention and feed yourself with the right inputs, and you can really get over this particular wanting. Yes. So any other questions?
Okay, guys, we are going to wrap it up soon. We are almost 2 hours. So, Swati, I wanted to ask you towards the end few questions. First of all, what kind of a right input would you recommend for a person who would love to replace all this endless chattering of social media, of useless information? So, what would you recommend to read, to listen to, etc.?
A very, very good question. What is like, first thing is try to learn to meditate or just to silence your mind. Just be calm and train yourself, your mind, to not want something all the time. So if you're practicing meditation, slowly you will learn not to want something all the time. That's one of the best things you can do to yourself. And secondly, the best thing is learning everything from experience, more than in gathering more information through books. Yes, it is good to gather information from books because it is somebody's experience, but until you have not experienced everything on your own, it cannot be your truth. So try to live your life more than get information from books or social media. So practically be out there, do things, live out, and just learn from what life has there to offer to you. And another thing that you can do the best is spend as much time in nature as possible, because nature can teach you almost anything you want to learn, because nature has designed you. You are part of the nature. You are not anything different or separate from nature. So if you just connect yourself with the nature, if you connect with yourself, you will start learning much more information. You start learning much more. You'll start learning much more, gathering much more wisdom faster and better than by getting information through the social media or the books or anything else.
Very inspiring, very inspiring. So at the end, if a person does want to keep certain amount of exposure to information through books, for example, or through the internet, what kind of content would you recommend? What kind of information, like so that this information is going to be really beneficial for them?
Yeah. Usually, like, what I would suggest is, like, everybody will have to choose a content which is more interesting for them, or which is more see, every soul is born with a particular purpose. If one can realize what that purpose is, they will know exactly what sort of information they want to look for, and they will try to gather information only in that direction. Yeah. So the best thing would be, try to find what's your purpose on this earth. What's the purpose of your life here, and what can you do the best, or what can you offer, like what is the best of you that you can offer to the world, and then try to get information on that, or try to make yourself better on that. So that is how you can choose the best books that you can read for yourself, because everybody's interests are going to be diverse. So
Absolutely.
you cannot give one particular kind of information, like this is what is going to help. No, I cannot tell that, because every purpose is different, and they'll have to choose accordingly for themselves.
Yeah. The subject of finding your purpose is fascinating, and we could talk about it another 2 hours. Maybe we should, maybe it's worth of doing a special webinar because
Yes.
so important. When people come to you for their healing programs, do you help them find their purpose in life?
Yes, if they want to, I help them with that too. There are
Mm,
who actually are a little bit lost or who really find it difficult to really understand what they're trying to do here. And yes, if I see that they have that wanting or that uh, awareness in them, yes, I do help them to reach there. But yes, unless they don't want it, I
mhm.
don't initiate it. I don't try to force them into it because everybody comes with a different agenda, because some people are only interested in their physical well-being.
Right.
Yeah. So yes, if they want it, yes, I do help them with finding their purpose in life. Yes, and I've
Yeah. Yeah.
people.
So guys who are watching it later on, or guys from the audience now, just take advantage of it. Just contact Swati, and you know, she has wealth of information. She might really help you. Okay, Swati, so towards the end, please, I will ask you also the same question as the last time for the people who did not watch the last webinar. So please tell us a little bit about your services, about your center, how is it possible to contact you, what kind of services you could provide online and in your center, etc.
Yes. Okay. I am a nature cure practitioner, and I help people to heal themselves of any health issues, whether it is physical or mental. People can travel to me and they can come and stay with us. Like I have some space in my home. Like I don't have a facility separately. The facility is part of my home. People come and live with me in my home, and I help them by changing their lifestyle, by changing their routine, by introducing a healthy lifestyle, by introducing a healthy food habit, and I just walk them through their journey and help them to detox and heal and cleanse, and they go back a better person, a healthier person, and a more happier person. And this is what I've seen, like actually they are able to become more happier when they go back.
Wow.
Yeah. So yes, I the different modalities that I use is majorly what we do here is like introduce people to a lifestyle change, and the lifestyle change is getting the activities which are going to connect you with yourself. Like we help you to connect with the five elements, mainly the sun, the earth, the water, the space, and with the air. And with the help of these five elements, we try to strengthen your we try to create an environment for your body to clean itself and heal itself. And we also introduce a healthy food habit, with which when the inputs are going to be right, the body is anyway ultimately going to cleanse and heal and detox. So this is a modality that we use here, and people can come and stay with me. That's one of the ways they can heal. And if they cannot travel due to any reason, I do help them online also. I have different packages, like wherein if they can take up a 1 month of hand holding and support package, or if they need a longer, because usually I've seen that 1 month is not enough for everybody. For very simple issues 1 month is enough, but when the most of the issues these days are actually very deep, so I've seen like people need to work on themselves for at least 3 months or 6 months or a year. So I offer a 3 month package also, wherein I help them all for online through those 3 months. I give them a diet chart and a routine chart which they need to follow, and we connect every day on a video call or a voice call, and I guide them on the phone call. Like they can ask their doubts, they can share their inputs, and they can also share their challenges they face that day, or they can also share their breakthroughs, whatever they have experienced that day. So, and according to whatever they share with me, I guide them for the next day. So that's how I just help them to walk through. And by the time we reach the end of the third month, we know where they stand, how much they have healed. And that is when we try to determine whether they need my help more, or whether we need
Mm.
or not. And when I feel that the person is strong enough, or they have experienced or learned enough to take care of themselves on their own, then I just tell them it's time for them to carry their journey on their own after that. But if I feel like they're not yet ready, then I suggest that they take 3 more months with me. So
Okay.
yeah, and yes, and before I end, I would like to just relate an experience from my own life, which
Mhm.
might um, help people to get a better insight into how you can take care of your health in a, like, how you're supposed, how you can remove fear of health issues from your life.
Yes, please, please. Please go.
There's one small incident from my own life. Like, what happened one day was like, my husband would, he loves doing yoga. He practices yoga every day.
Mhm.
But he had this habit, like somewhere he had heard from somebody where they would say like it's okay to eat before and after the yoga. So sometimes before he started his yoga, he would just munch on a banana, or
Mhm.
munch on a couple of slices of apple, and then he started his yoga. But one day, what happened was I had just prepared some watermelon juice. Somebody had wanted, so I had to prepare a large quantity of watermelon juice. And he got interested. Like, he said, "Okay, there's a fresh juice there." He had one
Mhm.
and a half glass of watermelon juice. So that is a big amount to consume before you practice yoga. But then I wasn't around, so I was not there to stop him. And he just directly he went and he started doing his yogic practice. And there was a posture where he had to bend down, and then he had to get up. So in that particular action, what happened was there was some sort of a problem in his stomach, and he had an excruciating pain. He could not even stand straight. He just could not hold on to himself, and he was going through extreme pain. And the only thing he could tell me was, "You need to call the ambulance. I'm in extreme pain. I'm just, something's very bad gonna happen to me." But then I was calm. I said, "Okay, don't worry. I'll take care of you." And the next moment, he just collapsed. He just dropped. He fainted.
Mhm.
So I just made him to lie down straight. I just sprinkled some water on his eyes, and I just let him be there. I just asked him to lie down peacefully on the floor, and I just asked him to do some deep breaths, because I know once you take a couple of deep breaths, it is going to release whatever has been, whatever obstruction that's been occurred in your stomach. So, but even that did not help him to relieve the pain. So I slowly had to move him slowly towards the room, and I had to put him on the bed. And I just suggested to him, like, please go into rest. Because whenever you are experiencing sudden pain, or any constant pain, the only thing is we say, like, the pain is the monitor and rest is the cure. So
Mhm.
need to go into rest. So I told my husband, please be in a state of rest all the time, and try, if you can avoid, please go onto a fast. And if it's the dry fast, that's the best. If not, if you feel thirsty, please sip on little water. That is it. And he trusted me, and he just followed what I was saying. And within 24 hours, he felt a lot better, and the pain was relieved to 50%. And another 24 hours, and the pain was relieved to 70%. And the third day, he was 90% pain free. He could move around.
Wow.
Third day. That's it. All his friends who came to visit him, all his relatives who came to visit him, they would be a little bit like, they might get a bit agitated towards me. They would think like I was mad to not take him to the hospital because he had excruciating pain. But
Uh-huh.
because he drank so much of juice before he did some asana, then that can create an issue where you might end up having some sort of an entanglement in your stomach, because you have a heavy stomach and
Mm.
with your intestines. And if at that moment, if I take him to the hospital with so much of extreme pain, what the doctors can do is they can just take an X-ray and they'll see that there's some sort of an entanglement, and they would only know that they need to operate it to remove that tangle. But actually, you don't need that. You just need to rest and relax and just let the body do what it needs to do without any external interference.
Wow. Wow. Such an inspiring story, Swati. Thank you so, so much. Wow, Swati. So thank you so, so much for this inspiring webinar.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch about our further cooperation. We'll probably meet maybe a few weeks from now with another issue.
Yes.
And yeah, so guys, we'll put Swati's contact details below this video. So Swati, what would be the best way to contact you for someone who would be interested to ask you questions, to get a consultation, etc.?
Yeah, they could contact me on my WhatsApp. They could just message, and
yes.
Then I can get back in touch with them, and I can share all the information, and we can take further from there. Like they can book a consultation with me,
yeah,
and we can take further from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, dear Swati, so have a very peaceful night. For you, it's almost midnight, I guess, right?
Yes, it is, yes.
And thank you very much for this sacrifice and for giving us from your valuable time to enlighten us.
I have a quick question. As long as she's in Tamil Nadu, she conducting the session in Tamil?
I do sometimes when my audience is Tamil, I do conduct sessions in Tamil. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys. So you're welcome to invite Swati for your gatherings and to promote her services, just to help her in any way possible. We love you, Swati. Thank you so, so much. Namaste. And thank you very much, guys, for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you. Bye. Namaste.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.